Hello, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you. So, my name is Cene, and I am here to talk to you all about courage. So, just so you know who I am an actor at Boom Chicago, and it's an improv comedy theater that is based here in Amsterdam. And by a show of hands or cheers and applause, who here has heard of improv before? All right, that's great. Now, make some noise if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Don't be shy. One girl goes, that's okay. So for those of you who do not know, basically what I do is I get on stage every day. I get up there without a script, without a plan, and I have to entertain people for 2 hours about. And it sounds scary, and it is scary, but it's also super fun. Now, excuse me. I didn't used to be a professional improviser. I actually used to just be a professional, period. I used to work in an office, and I really liked my job, and I was good at my job, but I would sit at the computer for 10, 11, sometimes 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, analyzing forecasts and deleting reply alls from the marketing department. But I was dying in that job because that job was so, for me, so soul-crushing. I was fucking bored out of my mind. I'm just sitting at a computer staring at these spreadsheets and I'm like, what the hell am I doing with my life? I didn't choose to do this. I didn't choose to help somebody else get rich while I slowly wither away in my office chair. So what I did is I had a little quarter-life crisis, and I started thinking, what are the things that I used to think were fun when I was a kid? Because I bet if I start following that, maybe I'll be able to get some joy back in my life. And so I remembered that I used to love going to the theater and being a part of the theater, and I especially loved watching Saturday Night Live with my friends because we would always sort of make fun of the characters and dress up as them and act a little wild and crazy. So then, knowing that I enjoyed that, I started Googling the Saturday Night Live the actors, and seeing how they got to where they got to. And a lot of them had in common improv. They had all gone to improv schools and/or had done stand-up. I'm not a stand-up person, but I like improv, so I was like, okay, if they did improv, let me see what's in my city. So I started Googling at night, and I found out that there was an improv theater right down the street from where I lived, and they happened to have a free class going on that week. So I decided to show up to the free class, and it was about 2 hours, and I had a blast. I was so glad that I made the decision to show up to that class because I started taking classes there and did so for about a year and a half. Now, while I was in classes, I decided, hey, they have shows here. I know at some point I want to perform. I'm not ready to perform, but why don't I start getting used to the audition process just to see what it's like? So I decided that I was going to show up to an audition, not thinking I would get cast, and just participate. That was it. Just participate. So I showed up to an audition and made the choice to go, and then I got cast in the show when I was not ready to perform. And so then I had to figure out how to navigate being in a show when I had not done this before. And so I noticed that that kept happening. I kept showing up to auditions, and more often than not, I started getting cast in things before I felt like I was ready to perform. And that's exactly how I ended up here in Amsterdam. I showed up to an audition that Boom Chicago was having in Austin, not thinking I was going to get the job because about 800 people auditioned for the job and all over cities across America. So I was like, whatever, I'm just going to go, I'm going to have fun, my friends are here, this is going to be great. And then I got the phone call and they were like, do you want to move to Amsterdam? And I was like, yes, I do want to move to Amsterdam. So I'm here now. So what is courage? Now, courage is the choice and the willingness to confront agony, pain, danger, uncertainty, or intimidation. Now, courage, I've realized, doesn't happen because of these things. Courage happens in spite of these things. And what I realize is courage is not necessarily the act itself. Courage is the choice to act. It's just a choice. So I made the choice to show up to that free improv class and follow a childhood dream. I had no idea that that little decision, that choice to just show up, was going to change my life completely and put me across the world. So, this means to me that courage is not something that you're born with. It's not something that you innately have or you don't. It's just a choice. And we are all capable of making these little simple choices in our life that may or may not have this huge effect on the direction that our life goes, right? So, where does courage come from? Well, I believe that courage comes from two places. Number one, courage comes from the ability to actively make decisions, to decide that in spite of what may be happening around you, you're going to act on what's best or what's right. And the second place that it comes from is your environment. So what does that mean? Well, before we dive deeper into this, I want to play a little game with you all. So what I want you to do is I want you to find two people next to you and get into groups of 3. So go ahead and do that right now. Great. If you do not have a partner, raise your hand so you can find each other. If you need a group. Great. We've got a little bit of negotiating happening over here. Awesome. All right. Is everybody in their groups? Okay. So in your groups, what I want you to do now is I want you to decide who is person A, who is person B, and who is person C. So I'll give you 5 seconds to do that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. So, in your groups, you have now figured out who's A, who's B, and who's C. I want to find out who in the group was like, you're A, you're B, I'm C. Yes, there's always a few people. Now, who in the group was like, well, I'm B, you guys figure out who you are. And who in the group was like, well, y'all just decide and let me know. Great, so what you guys just did is you just established your group dynamic. So there's always going to be someone in the group that's going to be like, you do this, you do this, you do this. There's always somebody in the group that's like, I'm doing this, you guys figure out what you're doing. And there's always somebody in the group who's like, I'll just fit in wherever it works best. None of those roles are good or bad, they just are. And as long as you figure out who you are in the group, you're going to be able to work together much more easily than you would if everybody tried to be a director, or if everybody was like, well, I don't know, what do you think? I don't know, what do you think? So, what we're going to do now is in your groups, we are going to plan a party. So, A's, raise your hand. I want all my A's to raise your hand. Great. So, A's, you're going to plan a party, and you are going to be pitching ideas to your group mates. Now, B's and C's, your response to their pitches is going to be, no, I think, and then give your opinion. So it might look something like this. If I were A, I'd say, I think we should have a party at the beach. And B's and C's might respond with, no, I think it's a little too cold to go to the beach. And A, you'll pitch another idea. Okay, great, I think we should have a party at an event center. B's and C's might respond with, no, I don't like those places, or whatever your response is. So A's, you're going to plan your party, pitch ideas. B's and C's, your job is to respond with, no, I think. Go.
Well, I think we should have a party on the moon.
On the moon?
Yeah.
I think it's too far. Yeah, it's too far away.
have a silent disco.
But will it notice people who come because it's so silent?
Okay, well, there's a lot of people, but nobody should talk a lot.
It's too boring.
Okay, so let's plan a party then with all of our friends. And we have a lot of, and we have a couple of DJs playing at our party. So what if we have, what if we invite the Metropole Orchestra?
All right, good job. Give yourself a round of applause. Give yourself a round of applause.
I wanted to plan a party.
This is so awesome. Great. Now, before we talk about that, I want bees. Raise your hand. Yes, bees. Okay, you're now going to plan a party. But A's and C's, your response to B's ideas is now going to be yes, but I think, and then give your thoughts. So it might look something like this. I'm a B. Hey, I think we should have a party at the beach. A's and C's. Yes, but what if we might get sunburned. B's. Oh, great. Well, then I think we should bring sunscreen. Yeah, but sunscreen has a lot of chemicals in it. And so on and so forth. So B's, plan your party. A's and C's respond with yes, but. Go.
Okay. Let's have a party at the North Pole. Let's party on the boat already to the North Pole. We'll just pick a side with almost no animals. It's so big.
How do you know where to meet?
What? How do you?
How do you know where to meet?
We'll send out some coordinates where the party will be. But first we'll go with the boat, so everybody's already on the boat. So we can meet at the harbor in Amsterdam.
What if you're from a different country?
We'll just buy a ticket for those people.
Yes, but isn't that going to be very expensive just for the party?
Yeah, of course, but we have Bill Gates as sponsor.
Yes.
What? I don't think so, because
All right,
he
give
inspires a
yourself
lot
a
of
round of
people.
applause. Give yourself a round of applause. Great. Now, before we get to C's, I want to talk to A's and B's for a second. Let's start with A. How many of my A's were able to plan their party, get their party off the ground? You did. 1, 2, maybe. She just was like, nah. How many of my B's were able to get their parties off the ground? You did, and then most people were like, kinda. For my A's, how did that feel, pitching your ideas to your group mates? What did you notice? Yes?
I think it was like, okay, well, it was kind of a challenge as well, because the reason they said no to one, I had to think of something that would overcome that reason. So
Yeah.
I like that in the sense that it was a challenge.
Yeah.
But then you also had to be really creative about it too. We're like, okay, well, there's like 4 reasons already. I have to think of something that would cover that.
Yeah, you had to come up with another idea. How many people were like, oh, I'm tired of coming up with ideas? How many people were like, well, you come up with something? Now, my B's, did you notice anything different or similar to what the A's experienced? Yes?
You can be just as negative saying yes as well.
Yeah, you can be just as negative saying yes. So yes, but can go one of 2 ways.
Way number one is that yes, but is really just a no in disguise. People are just saying, yes, but I don't want to. That's a no. But if somebody were to give you an alternative solution, then that's technically a yes, it's just a postponed yes. So you have to be able to decipher between the two. So like, for example, if somebody asked me to lunch and they're like, hey, do you want to go to lunch on Friday? And I said, yes, but I'm busy. Well, that sounds like I don't want to go to lunch, right? And so now I've just confused them. So like, oh, so is that a yes? Is that a no? So now they're figuring it out. But if I said, you know, hey, they said, do you want to go to lunch on Friday? And I'm like, yes, but I'm busy Friday. How about Saturday? You're offering an alternative option. Now that is a yes. It's just yes later. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is that environments are very important to whether or not people want to act courageously. So, based on our experience from what we just did, what environments prevent people from wanting to act courageously, from wanting to make decisions and share their ideas with the people around them?
Downer?
Sorry?
Downer around you?
Downer, yeah, people are super negative around you. Yeah, that's a great example. What are some other examples? Being dismissed. A lot of you guys have that experience of like, oh, they're just going to say no to my idea, whatever. A lot of people have the experience, I know for me, any sort of unkind criticism. I love constructive criticism. I will take it all day. But if somebody criticizes me and it's just to be mean and it's not offering any help, that is not going to make me want to share my ideas. It's not going to make me want to make decisions. It's not going to make me want to help you or myself. It's going to make me want to bail on whatever it is I was doing. And that sucks. And that's a position I'm sure a lot of us have been in the past. So, with that in mind, I want to talk to my C's now. And it is your turn to plan a party. Now, C's, you're going to pitch your ideas, but A's and B's, your response is now going to be yes. And I think, and then give your opinion. So it might look something like this. Hey, I think we should have a party at the beach. Yes, and we should invite the whole Ajax and PSV teams to the party. Yes, and I think we should make sure everybody has all the booze that they could possibly want. We'll take personal orders, and so on and so forth. So C's, pitch your ideas. A's and B's, respond with yes, and begin. All right. Wow. Parties got planned. Look at all these hands that just went up in the room. So many more
more parties got planned? I want to get some examples of some parties. So we'll start with you guys. What happened at your party?
Basically, we're occupying the whole Hague speech, Den Haag speech.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, to have different artists that people like most, so that there are different stages and like there are different artists around the Hague, so people can enjoy, and the band with the beers.
And the band with the beer. So you're basically having a festival in The Hague on the beach with multiple stages. That's great. Yes.
We're taking rocket ships to the moon. And we're making drinks in low gravity.
Yeah.
And then eventually we're going to go to Mars and Venus and then meet again on that too.
Yes. Who else had crazy locations for their parties? What was yours?
Ice skating rink with a swimming pool, and we're all about to be dressed in dinosaurs.
That's a fucking great party. Yes. Yes. What was yours?
We're gonna throw ours at the Albert
At the Albert And then you get paid to party. Nice. You're doing it right. You're doing it right. So over by C's, how did that feel planning your parties, knowing your group mates were going to respond with yes and? Great. Great. It felt great. Yeah, it felt great. How was it easy or hard to come up with more ideas? It was a lot easier. It's so much easier to do that because you now have experienced what it's like to have the people around you support your ideas. The ideas that you were courageous enough to share with them, right? So what kind of environments support and facilitate courageous acts? Well, we just experienced that. It's people who are supportive. It's people who are enthusiastic about your ideas and the things that you want to share. Anything that has positive reinforcement is going to be super helpful when you're in an environment where you're like, I have to come up with ideas. I have to share my ideas. I need to be brave enough to speak up, right? If you have people that have your back, you're going to probably want to do it more than if people were like, no, I think, no, right? So the great thing is you get to facilitate that. You guys in your groups facilitated that on your own. I just helped you a little bit by giving you 2 words to start off your sentences. But you get to decide whether or not you're going to have a supportive environment. Now, what we're going to do, before I do that, I'm going to say, question for you. When you were a kid, I want you to think about this. What did you consider fun? And why did you consider it fun? What about it was fun for you? Take a moment to think about that. I'll tell you what it was for me. For me, environments that felt like play were the environments that felt fun to me. I literally would be the kid that would go down the street, knock on everybody's door that was around my age, and ask, hey, can so-and-so come out to play? Because then we'd go out and we would just be wild and crazy, whatever that was. Courage is a muscle, just like any other muscle, and it's stronger the more you use it. So knowing what we know now, and knowing that having these fun, supportive environments is going to facilitate courageous acts, we are going to play. So we're going to play one of my all-time favorite games, rock, paper, scissors. So what I want you to do before we start is I want you to find one partner, somebody you have not yet talked to today. So go ahead and do that now. I'll give you 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. Raise your hand if you need a partner. If you're still looking for a partner. Got 2 hands and just one up over here. Who else needs a partner? Great. Keep your hand up. Right there. Boom, boom. Great. So, everybody face me. I'm going to tell you what the rules are. Great. So, hello. So, with your partner, you guys are going to be competing. You are going to play rock, paper, scissors. It's going to be best 2 out of 3. I'm going to tell you now the rules are going to be on 3, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, whatever your decision is. Once you figure out who has won 2 out of the 3 games, that person will move on to the next winner. And they will play them. Now, if you lost the game, your job is to now back up the person that beat you and become their cheerleader. So you're gonna get behind them and be like, yeah, you got this. It probably will help if you know their name. So ask them their name before you do that. And so on and so forth. So winners, you'll find another winner. You will play best 2 out of 3 until there are only 2 people left. If you lose, you will then support the winners up until the last person. Whoever wins the whole thing, I want everybody to cheer that person on as if they just did the most amazing thing in the world. Is that clear? Great, so turn to your partners. Rock, paper, scissors, best 2 out of 3. Go. Are we down to the final 2? All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is the final round of rock, paper, scissors. Cheer them on. All right, round 1 is done. Round 2. Oh! The girl that won, what is your name? Kiki. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Amsterdam's first ever Creative Mornings Rock, Paper, Scissors champion. Her name is Kiki. For the people that won, how did it feel having those people have your back? It felt so good, right? Even though some people didn't make it all the way through, we can only have one winner of rock, paper, scissors. For the people that lost, what was that experience like for you? It was still good, right? Because you then got to turn around and be like, oh, I'm going to cheer the fuck out of this person. Because maybe my cheering will make them win. Right? So I love playing this game because there's a couple lessons in here that we can take away from it. One, just because you lose does not mean that you are incapable of anything. And that it just means that in that moment, somebody else's idea just happened to be better than yours. Just in that moment. And that's okay, because guess what? People are going to have better ideas than you. That's normal, right? It has no value on your intelligence or capability, so don't ever think of a loss as something that like, oh, I'm defeated, I'm never going to get back up from this. No, you can make the choice to get up and cheer on the next person. Two, just because you lose doesn't mean you're not a valued member of the team. So you get to actually be the catalyst for the winner to move forward and to want to move forward. You might be the reason why they're confident to move forward with their choice, right? Because a lot of people, we all struggle with confidence issues, but if you have somebody behind you and if you're the person that pumps up the next person, a lot of the time that's going to make you feel better. You're going to feel so much more confident to go into the thing that you wanted to do, right? And guess what? If you make somebody feel valued and respected, like you're in their corner, they might do the same for you in the future. And if they don't, somebody that saw you having their back and pumping them up will do that for you at some point. Because they're going to be like, yeah, I saw you do that. I saw you cheering them on. And that made me feel good just watching it. I want to be able to help you feel good so that maybe one day somebody will help me feel good and we can accomplish our creative goals together. So a good leader knows the value of support and encouragement, right? When it's present, it can even push the most timid and shy people and introverted people in the room to greatness. I am actually, in my normal life, a very introverted person. I love to go into my room. I love to be alone. I love to read books. I do not like being at parties where I don't know anybody. That really stresses me out. And so a lot of times that keeps me from wanting to share anything, from having the choice, making the decision to share any of my ideas. But when I know that the people around me are going to pump me up and they have my back, I'm more likely to want to talk to those people, right? So let us recap the things that we have talked about today. One, courage is a choice. It's not the act, it's just the decision. All right, you get the opportunity to act courageously, and that can be as simple as, I have this idea for a party, to as big as, I want to be an activist for this wonderful, great cause. It is hard to make those choices if the environment that you're in doesn't allow you to fail. So in these instances, in these exercises, the environment was very supportive of failure. Yes, and was very supportive of failure. Rock, paper, scissors, you were very supportive of failure because then you became the catalyst for the person who won to make them feel good about themselves. Also, it's so much less scary to act courageously if the people around you are supportive and enthusiastic. It feels good to have them have your back. For me, some, if not most, of my best work came from that state of fun and playfulness. So as leaders and aspiring leaders in your respective fields, why not be the one who makes the choice to allow people to want to act courageously in front of you, right? Create an environment where people are not afraid to fail, because if they're not afraid to fail, they definitely will not be afraid to succeed either. Help people want to choose to try. Because the choice is the decision. That's the hard part. That's the courageous act. And when they do, support the shit out of them. Get excited about their ideas. Get excited about their wins. Get excited about their failures. Just get excited that they are trying and they are choosing to try. If you do that for them, I promise you, you'll discover your best work for yourself as well. Now, I want to leave you with one of my favorite quotes that I try to live my life by. Based on everything that we've learned today about how important it is to set up courageous environments and to be okay to try. This is from Maya Angelou, and it is, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did,
but people will never forget how you made them feel. So make sure that you make people feel good and feel comfortable and feel safe to make the choice to act courageously and try in front of you. Thank you. Contact info for me if you would like it. You can reach me at all of these places.
Yeah, so we're running out of time, but we do have some time for a couple of questions. So if you have a question for Cene, just go ahead.
Yes.
So of course, yes, and it's all about supporting one another,
Yes.
and using that to propel yourself to a better idea. But then rock paper scissors. You said it does have a clear loser and winner.
Mm-hmm.
So using these metaphors, what if I suggest this idea that I think is great, but it isn't. It's not a good idea, and the best answer would be for someone to say, no, let's not do that, because I need to lose in that situation. It does need to go to a better idea.
Well, who decides when if the idea is bad? Do you decide it or do they decide it?
I want to have a party in. I want to have a party in a toxic, poisonous environment, and the second anyone gets it, we're gonna die.
Great. Well, one, thank you for sharing your idea. So that is a great question. A lot of you, I'm sure everybody's familiar with Walt Disney, right? So Walt Disney was famous for having 2 separate writing desks. He had a desk where he would come up with all of his ideas, good or bad, whatever those ideas are, and he would write them all down, and he would not let himself edit on that desk at all whatsoever. This was just the idea desk. And so once he collected enough, he felt enough ideas, he would then take them over to the editing desk, and that's when he would sit there and be like, no, partying in a toxic wasteland is probably not a good idea. So I would say in that case, don't worry about the logistics of something right at the top. Worry about it after. Because I guarantee if you pitch that idea, no, that's probably not going to happen unless you were making some point. Maybe it was like an activism thing. We don't know your why for your idea. But just keep in mind there's a separate...
It's a baby shower.
Yeah, exactly. There's a separate place to come up with ideas, and that's the place where you want people to feel comfortable trying and sharing their ideas. And then once we've moved past that phase and we're ready to get into the logistics phase, then that's when you can go in and be like, no, I think yes, but. Also to point out, those are valuable. We do need people to say no. It's important for that. But there is a time and a place for it, and as long as you designate where and when that is, then you'll be fine.
Thank you.
Any other question? No, that's it. It's also fine.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, so give it up for me.